Well, I know a guy that's done some driving in his life is our friend Tom Murphy, who now joins us courtesy of the Arkansas Beef Council. Tom, you've been on a lot of trips over the years with the Arkansas Democrat-Gazette and Whole Hog Sports. What's the state that's the worst in terms of driving?
Oh, good morning, y'all. Yeah, I'm driving right now, as a matter of fact. Just had an appointment. Driving across Mississippi, but at least there's a lot of stops. Like Tommy just pointed out, when you're driving in West Texas, which I've done, we went Amarillo to Lubbock, which is only about, I think it was an hour or 2 hours. I can't remember. Yeah, but Palo Duro Canyon was there, so that was pretty neat. Bob and I went there a few years ago for the game in 2014 at Texas Tech. So, yeah, I would say West Texas is pretty dismal.
I'm going to tell you, get outside of Vegas and Nevada going
That's
north.
What Tanner or David Gentry says, Nevada. He says it's certified. Can't say that word that he texted in. I think, Tom, you and Tommy described this to me. You know how there's Western movies and you see like a tumbleweed go by or someone? That's how I picture your drive to Lubbock. Is that accurate?
Oh, yeah.
Like just not like no gas station for 75 miles.
No service for 350 miles.
Jeez,
if you have a full tank.
Lee from Springdale says Joplin to Wichita is boring. JT says El Paso to Dallas. Kansas is terrible. Eastern Oklahoma is terrible. Michael says Iowa is the worst state, though. So we're getting some good feedback on this.
Iowa's not. I don't remember Iowa as being terrible.
I like Des Moines. Des Moines was awesome. We went 2 years ago. That was a great time. But yeah, there was some.
I haven't been to South Dakota, but I would imagine there's not much to see outside of the cities in South Dakota or North Dakota.
Clay's been out there. Maybe we can ask him about that. Well, Tom, enough tomfoolery. Obviously, people are interested in what's going to happen Saturday night between the Tigers and the Razorbacks. My thing is like, if Zach Root pitches anything like he has in postseason thus far, you're going to win the game. Like, he was awesome in the regional. He's awesome in the supers. I know those were both at home. But is that like the strongest selling point for this baseball team right now is your ace that you're going to see on Saturday night?
Yeah, because Gage Wood couldn't command his curveball, Sunday. So he's your game two guy, ostensibly. Jimenez didn't work out really as a starter, I wouldn't say. So who's going to start a potential game three? I mean, are they going to have a designated bullpen guy? I mean, you think you could get 3, 4, 5 innings out of a guy like Gackle or Jimenez or some others if they're effective. But which one of those guys is going to start? I mean, could you actually put a Ben Bybee in a starting role, particularly if you get in the loser's bracket and have to play a lot of games? So the good thing is I think they've got a lot of arms, a lot of options. But, yeah, if Root can give them – and here's the thing. They didn't exactly tear Cade Anderson up, but they did have a lead on him in the 6th or 7th inning in the game one in Baton Rouge before they scored a couple off Jimenez down there. And Jimenez has not been super sharp since that game. That's another topic. But, yeah, if they can win game one, obviously it's a huge, huge deal to be 1-0, particularly because LSU has never lost to Arkansas in Omaha. I think it's 3-0.
It was so 2 of those games came in 2009. When was do you know off the top of your head the other game, the other matchup?
And I looked it up Sunday when it looked like the game was in hand. I don't remember the exact year. It could have been 12. It was more recent. It wasn't like the 80s World Series appearance. Yeah. Well, I don't know. I just don't remember.
So we were talking earlier, and you've kind of talked around some of the points of the game, but Our Morning Rush Daily question was, is this the biggest game for Arkansas's baseball program since the 2018 championship series? And we talked about the Ole Miss game in 22, but, Tom, this thing has the feel that whoever loses this Arkansas-LSU game, you got like maybe a 15% chance of making the finals still, maybe less than that. That's why this game seems so important, so paramount Saturday night at 6 that I don't want to say it's not winner take all, but it's, man, losers going to have a hard time coming back from that.
Yeah, I agree with you. And the winner is probably the favorite to win the College World Series.
Yeah, I would agree.
They're the highest 2 seeds. I wouldn't doubt. I haven't seen what the odds are, but for Arkansas to be the favorite and LSU to be the number 2 favorite. And so the winner of that game is in the best position. You don't have to go as deep into your pitching and all those things that come with it or feel that pressure. The way Arkansas is hitting right now, up and down the lineup, I like their chances, and there's certainly a sentimental favorite, I would say, around the country for Dave Van Horn to get that first one. I mean, LSU just won it a couple years ago, and they're used to that. So in terms of like the historic, dripping with tradition, LSU's got that on Arkansas. But how does that translate to the current roster? I wouldn't say very much at all. So Arkansas is playing with a lot. There's a lot of motivation. You heard Charles Davalon say, we really want to win this natty for Coach Van Horn.
Mm-hmm.
His career is obviously a Hall of Fame career as it stands, but to get this would be, that crowning achievement that would really, cement everything.
Tom, are we making too much of what's happened the last week or so between the soundbite with him and Ed Service saying I'm not too far behind you, to his emotional state following the Game 2 win over Tennessee, to Davalon saying that? I mean, Tony Vitello is going on, not an apology tour, but he was on our airwaves this morning on Chuck and Bo. He made sure to give Arkansas fans and DVH credit in the postgame. I mean, how close is the end to Dave Van Horn's regime and tenure, in your opinion?
I hesitate to speculate on how close, but if he were to get a championship, it would make, I think, mentally for him, it'd make it a lot easier. Like, and I could rest now,
mm-hmm.
because you could feel like his first emotion. Someone asked him, "What were you feeling when you got the water bath?" And the emotion was relief because they'd lost 2 home regionals in a row, and so they took care of business at home like you're supposed to when you're the number 3 national seed, and they got it done. And so I think if they were to win one, certainly who he's recruited now, I mean, he'd want to keep coaching, I would think. But if they were not to win it this year, I think there's still a ton of motivation for him to come back yet again. So I don't know.
All right, so let's peel that onion back another layer or two. Was the emotion and the outpouring, we saw the excitement and the relief of getting to the College World Series, or finally getting it done again in front of the home fans and not losing in the regional, not losing like they did to NC State in the Super? What was the bigger monkey on the back, going into to this past weekend for Dave? Was it the home losses in recent years, or just the overall pressure of trying to finally win a national championship?
Yeah, that's a great question. You'd have to obviously get into his mind to get the answer to that one. But in that moment, he said that relief because they had lost a couple at home.
Mm-hmm.
So, but obviously he knows they've been so close to Pop Fly in 2018. He knows how close his team has been, how great that 2018 team was. And, the 21 team, to be honest, that didn't make it. So,
and the 22 team the 22 team, I'm sorry to interrupt, if you get past Ole Miss, you got to like your odds against Oklahoma. So, it just feels like you've knocked on the door. Maybe this is the year it finally opens.
You're right, Tommy, and what a great game that was. The finals in their bracket against Ole Miss. Connor Nolan made a great start.
Yeah.
But the DeLucia guy, I can't think of his name right now specifically. Dave DeLucia, something like that, was just not going to get scored on that day the way it looked. So you're right. They've been so close so many times. They've had so many good teams, so much great recruiting, especially since they made the comeback after 2016, that maybe they're right. Maybe this is their time.
Dylan DeLucia was a thorn in Arkansas' side that day. But like you said, it was a really good pitching battle. Tom, my whole take, by the way, we're talking with Tom Murphy on the Lewis Automotive Group hotline. Tom, of course, writes with Whole Hog Sports and the Arkansas Democrat-Gazette. It's brought to you by the Arkansas Beef Council. My take is this on this LSU game. You're going to have to play these guys regardless, right? Like, it's inevitable that Arkansas would play LSU probably in Omaha, whether in the championship series or as we're getting this game first thing on Saturday. If you look at the side of the bracket Arkansas is on, though, like, while it's hard to overlook that LSU game, overall, though, I think it's easier. And not that UCLA or Murray State are bad teams, but between Oregon State, Coastals won championships, Arizona and Louisville, frankly, I think overall I'd rather be on this side of the bracket and having a chance to knock off LSU early this Saturday.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the ideal situation would be beat LSU and then have them get upset in the other game, in the losers bracket game. I don't know if that's going to happen, but not have to play them again. But, I mean, the depth of Arkansas's pitching and the fact that they've got a really nice lineup, 1 through 9, they're going to be in any game, especially if the Lloyd brothers get it back going. I mean, I know Vahiva hit a home run against Creighton, but he just hasn't been quite the same. He's been chasing a little bit more. If he hadn't got hit by that pitch, who knows how that at-bat would have ended that led to the Maxwell Grand Slam. And Trujillo is in a slump. I mean, there's no other way to put it. I know he had a couple of hits, but, one of them was a chopper on the infield that stayed fair. And, he had another soft single. But he's in a slump. But other than that, 1 through 9, they're hitting pretty doggone well. So I agree with you. I think all in all, this side of the bracket is more navigable, and the other one's got some tougher, more tournament-tested teams.
You mentioned just the lineup. So 8 of the 9 guys got on base in Game 2. Ryder was the only one that didn't get on. He had a good Game 1. So, that's the strength of this baseball team. Tom, we were looking back at the 2018 team that obviously made it all the way to the College World Series final. I think there's an argument to be made that the starting pitching is better between Murphy, Blaine Knight, Zayday. But when you look at the overall aspects of that 2018 team versus this team, and I know they haven't made it to that finals just yet, but would you say this team is overall better than 7 years ago?
Well, Dave Van Horn says it is, and obviously I think at least 6 through 9 in the order, this team's got more pop and more hitting for average. That's the thing. Somebody like Justin Thomas has hit big home runs. Brent Iredale, to me, is the big mystery deal. He wasn't totally on fire, but he's hitting in the 7 hole. And he's a guy who is your cleanup, big-time run producer early in the season who carried them, as Dave said. So if he can find a way to get it rolling again, they're just really, really dangerous. They're just not any guy you can relax on, maybe not throw your best pitch to and still get them out. And so, yeah, I think the depth of Arkansas's hitting lineup is what makes them – it separates them from some of the – especially the 15 and 12 teams. But, the 18 team was a very powerful team. Had a lot of depth in it. And I think you're right. Between Knight, Murphy, and Campbell, probably a better, at least frontline starter group, but maybe more depth to this pitching staff.
Tom, don't have much time, but I want to change directions completely before you go. House settlements done, $2.8 billion or whatever, and there's going to be some back pay, but essentially $25 million a year for the schools we discuss that are going to have revenue sharing. Just any thoughts as you've read through this, and any surprises to you in what is now going to be the norm in college athletics?
Yeah, that's you're right. That's what I talked to with Hunter Yurachek on Saturday. He wasn't really surprised by anything other than the fact that they released it on Friday at 5:00, which is the cliche news dump time where they don't want it to be publicized so much. It was really kind of strange that it happened on that day, and Tony Vitello called it a joke at the regional. But no, I mean, I'm glad it's happened. It's cool that athletes are going to be compensated. Hunter was real big on the fact that it's going to control the market more than what's been going on lately. There were a lot of guys who wanted to sign maybe above their value, pressure schools into getting them above their value here at the 11th hour before everything got enacted, and you have to go through a clearinghouse to kind of settle your worth. So it's going to be a wild, brand new day. I hope it balances things out. I'm not sold on the fact that it will, but I would like to think that it's going to balance things out. And, the teams that are toward the bottom of the SEC and revenue and all that have a better chance going forward.
And we'll see if I never trust any of these setups are going to help Arkansas. I always just assume that the rich will get richer. You just assume the worst. Tom, always great to talk to you. You going to Omaha for Saturday?
No, our new guy, man. I just moved and still kind of getting over the health thing, so I think it's better for me to stay in town and watch things from here.
All right, well, always got a good view on the couch. Always got a great angle on the game. So, Tom,
outstanding.
We'll catch up again Thursday, and we'll be a couple days closer to Arkansas and LSU in the College World Series.
Absolutely. Y'all have fun in Omaha. See ya.
BetOnline is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for all your sports betting action. With baseball season in full swing, BetOnline has more ways to stay in on the action with the latest odds, news, scores, and even live in-game betting while the games are being played. We keep the dog days of summer rolling with the largest selection of odds on everything. With updated odds on the MLB, UFC, and boxing to tennis and NFL futures, BetOnline remains the best online source for all your sports wagering information. In between games, head over to the BetOnline Casino with all the top Vegas-style games, including poker and live casino. BetOnline, the game starts here.